Global ETFs just absorbed a record $1.23 trillion. But at the exact same time, central banks are quietly suffocating the credit and housing markets. Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this, because right now we are looking at two entirely different economic realities playing out simultaneously. It's a massive divergence. Record-breaking capital is flooding into index funds while global credit and real estate markets literally gasp for air. Today we're decoding this $1.23 trillion illusion.
The data we're looking at today really forces us to ask one absolutely critical question. Are we witnessing the ultimate bull market driven by genuine, solid economic strength, or are we actually standing on the edge of a massive liquidity trap where all this surface-level stock market euphoria is just masking deep underlying economic fragility?
To really grasp this divergence, you've got to follow the money, and there's a lot of it. According to ETF data, U.S. ETFs just absorbed a staggering $1.23 trillion in year-to-date net inflows. I mean, think about that number for a second. In July alone, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF raked in nearly $20 billion all by itself. Passive capital is just pouring into paper assets at an absolutely blistering pace. But contrast that massive cash fire hose with the stark reality of commercial real estate and housing, and suddenly the illusion starts to fade. Over $2 trillion in commercial real estate debt is maturing by 2030. That capital is trapped in a higher-rate environment with shrinking rental income. Meanwhile, property transactions in Europe and the existing home market, they've practically ground to a halt. It's a completely different world out there.
Part 1. The Global Stagflationary Shift.
So, beneath all that loud market noise, central banks are quietly preparing for a protracted stagflationary environment. We're talking low growth, combined with sticky inflation. Now, the headline data is giving policymakers some temporary cover right now. The latest U.S. core inflation print came in at 2.5%, which is perfectly feeding the bullish narrative we're seeing play out in the equity markets.
But if you look away from Wall Street and focus directly on Main Street, the picture completely changes. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the University of Michigan's U.S. Consumer Sentiment Index plunged to 51.0 in early August. Everyday consumers are just exhausted by cumulative price hikes. It exposes severe financial anxiety and, frankly, a deep underlying rot in the everyday economy.
You know, this isn't just an American phenomenon either. Driven by geopolitical tensions and energy fears, the European Central Bank recently resumed rate hikes, pushing its main refinancing rate to 2.40%. They're maintaining a remarkably rigid stance, essentially confirming that global central banks are buckling down for a drawn-out battle with inflation.
Before we get into the critical implications of this data, a quick but very important reminder. The information and comments in this explainer are strictly not investment advice. Please make financial decisions based on your own risk profile and always consult with a licensed professional. Part 2. The Perfect Storm. Paper assets versus hard money.
We are currently sitting right in the middle of a violent divergence that is screaming extreme systemic stress beneath the surface. Unprecedented passive retail capital is blindly pouring into S&P 500 ETFs. But look at the institutional money. Central banks just purchased a record 288.9 tons of physical gold in a single quarter, pushing it to structural highs near $4,380 an ounce. They are literally building a hard money floor to protect themselves from the very fiat system they manage. And this brilliantly illustrates how this stress is already forcing capital to pivot. Looking at the trajectory of private debt fundraising versus direct property transactions shows you exactly what happens when credit markets tighten up. Capital is fleeing risky, highly leveraged real estate and migrating right toward defensive, well-capitalized assets. Make no mistake, the real estate debt supercycle is rolling over. If you're finding this data valuable in helping you navigate these complex markets, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and share this data with your network. Okay, now let's move to the critical action plan you need to shield your capital.
Part 3. The Shielding Action Plan.
You really cannot afford to be complacent when the macroeconomic foundation is this fragile. It's time to execute a defensive liquidity structure today. So the crucial point is insulating your portfolio against algorithmic margin cascades and a potential 30% market liquidation. Step 1. Prioritize short-term debt instruments for safe yield without locking up your cash. Step 2. Strictly balance your global equity exposure so you aren't crushed if those passive ETF inflows suddenly reverse. And Step 3. Lock in physical precious metals.
Part 4. Awaiting distressed valuations.
Defensive positioning actually sets you up for the ultimate offensive move. It's where wealth preservation meets the horizon of opportunity. Here are your rules for delayed gratification. First, protect your purchasing power against global currency debasement. Second, avoid leverage like the plague. It's exactly what wipes investors out during credit contractions. Third, maintain maximum cash flexibility. And finally, patiently wait for the market to offer Tier 1 assets at distressed valuations. When that suffocated real estate debt finally comes due, those assets will be forced to reprice. That is your entry point.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, looking straight through the noise at the actual data driving the global economy. Stay rational, stay data-driven, and protect your capital. I want to leave you with this final, deliberate thought regarding your own positioning. When the paper illusion fades, will your capital be a casualty or a conqueror? Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.